Okay, Year 11, here's the second half of the paper for the Numeracy Unit 2 paper, November 2017. So I'm just going to go through the solutions for question 7 to question 9. So question 7 tells us that Bronwyn and Alvaro decide to keep some alpacas on their farm in Patagonia. Alvaro knows it's possible to keep between 4 to 6 alpacas on each acre of suitable farmland. They have 13 hectares of farmland that they want to use to keep the alpacas, and Bronwyn knows that 1 acre is 4,046.86 metres squared and that 10,000 metres squared is equal to 1 hectare. Use the information to advise Bronwyn and Alvaro on the number of alpacas they could keep on their farmland and state any assumptions that you make. You must show all your workings. So, because we can keep between 4 to 6 alpacas per acre, what we really need to do is to convert the farmland, which is 13 hectares, into acres. So, it says first of all that 1 hectare is 10,000 meters squared. So we've got 13 of those, so we want 13 hectares. There's going to be 13 lots of 10,000, so it's 13 times 10,000, which you can do on your calculator, but that's 130,000 meters squared. And then it tells us that 1 acre is 4,046.86 meters squared. So if we see how many 4,046.86 meters squared go into 130,000, that will tell us how many acres we've got. So we need to do number of acres is going to be 130,000 divided by 4,046.86. which I'm going to do on my calculator. 130.12. That gives me an answer of 32.1236711 acres. Okay, so I'm going to round that because we've got 32 full acres, and it says here that we can keep between 4 to 6 alpacas in 1 acre, so we've got 32 acres. So the minimum number of alpacas we can keep is going to be 4 times 32, because we can have 4 for every hectare. So 4 times 32, that gives us 128. And the maximum number of alpacas is going to be 6 times 32, which is 192. Okay, so really we can have alpacas between 128 and 192. So our assumption is really that the number of alpacas needs to fall between 128 and 192. Okay, part B, Bronwyn decides to place a cylindrical water container in the small paddock on the farm. The water container has a diameter of 1.4 meters. The scale diagram opposite shows the small paddock on the farm. The small paddock is rectangular, measuring 7 by 5 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to put that there so I can see both questions on the same page. Okay, so It says here, Bronwyn decides to place the centre of the water container so that it is equidistant from the south fence and the east fence. So use your south fence and use your east fence. So if it's going to be equidistant from two lines, what we actually need to do is cut this angle in half, and that's called the perpendicular bisector. So you need a compass. Okay, so I need to draw the angle bisector of these two lines, the south fence and the east fence. So to do that, I open my compass, put the point on the corner where the two lines meet, draw an arc which crosses the two fences, keep my compass the same, and then put my point where the one arc crosses that line there, draw an arc, do the same thing on the other side. And then where the two arcs cross, at that point there, I join them from the corner of the fences through that point there and extend it through the entire length of the field. Now any point on that line is equidistant, which means equal distance from the east fence and the south fence. Okay, then it says it has to be 3 meters from the south fence. So here's the south fence. You need to look at the scale at the top because it says 2 centimeters represents 1 meter. So 3 meters, it's going to be 3 lots of 2, so it's going to be 6 centimeters away from the south fence on our diagram. So I need to measure 6 centimeters. That's 6 centimeters there. If you want to be really accurate, measure 6 centimeters there as well. Okay, and we need to draw a line there. So that line there is 6 centimeters away from the south fence. So we need to place the water container at this point here because it's equidistant from both fences and exactly 6 centimeters or 3 meters in real life from there. You might notice that this is 1.4 meters in diameter. So we need to draw a circle with a radius of half. So the radius is half the diameter of, so it's going to be 0.7 centimeter, 0.7 meters, sorry. And it tells us here that 1 meter is 2 centimeters. So 0.7 meters, I would need to times it by 2. So 0.7 times 2 gives me a radius of 1.4 centimeters. So I need to draw a circle here with a radius of 1.4 centimeters. So to do that, I get my compass and I need to measure the distance from the tip of the compass to the tip of the pencil needs to be 1.4 centimeters, and you can see I've got that there on my ruler, and then I just need to draw a circle at that point there. Okay, so that would be the position of the water container. Okay, the second part, it says the water container holds 900 litres of water when full. Calculate the height of the water container in centimetres. So you need to know that the volume of a cylinder is the area of cross section times the height. Well, the area of cross section is a circle, so it's pi r squared times h. You also need to be able to convert litres into centimetres cubed so that we can use it in this formula. You need to know that 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres or 1,000 centimetres cubed. So we need it in centimetres cubed because we're going to be dealing with lengths now. So 900 litres is going to be, if 1 litre is 1,000 centimetres cubed, 900 of them, we're going to do 900 times 1,000, and that gives me 900,000 centimetres cubed. Now, so this is basically my volume. So my volume is 900,000 centimetres cubed. So I can substitute that in here for V. So I've got 900,000. Pi is 3.14, which is a button on your calculator. R is the radius. What it tells you here that the diameter is 1.4 meters. The radius is half of that, so it's 0.7 meters. But we need it, because we've got our volume in centimeters cubed, we need this in centimeters. So you have to times that by 100. So 0.7 meters is actually 70 centimeters, which we can use as our radius. So we've got 70 squared times by h. So if I just work that out now, so I've got 900,000, and then I need to work out pi times 70 squared. So shift that button there gives me pi times by 70 squared. That gives me 1539.3.804 times h. So if it's 900,000 is equal to that times h, then to work out h, I just need to divide that by that number there. So 900,000 divided by 15,393.804, and if I work that out my calculator, 900,000 divided by my previous answer, and that gives me 58.5 centimeters to 1 decimal place. Okay, part C. The currency widely used in Patagonia is the Argentine peso. Alvaro sees alpaca fleeces from Patagonia. His fleeces are priced in Argentine pesos. Tom lives in Wales and buys fleeces from Alvaro. Tom pays for the fleeces in pounds. And he's got a table here showing his purchases. For Tom's 3 purchases, he paid correct to the nearest penny. How much did Tom pay for the 200 fleeces? And you must give your answer in pounds to the nearest penny. So we've got 80 fleeces here at 19.20 pesos, and the exchange rate here is £1 to 15.47. So if you're going from pounds to pesos, if you're going that way, you would times by 15.47. If you're going from pesos to pounds, you would divide by 15.47. So if we just work out how much he paid in January 2015 first, we've got 80 at 19.20 pesos. So we can work that out. 80 times 19.2. That gives me 1536 pesos. But I need to change that into pounds. So I'm going from pesos to pounds. So I'm going to divide by 15.7. So 1536 divided by 15.47. And that will give me an answer in pounds. So that's £99 and 29 pence. Then I need to do exactly the same thing for March. This time I've got 20, and they cost £22 or 22 pesos 30. So 20 times £22.30, that's 446 pesos. Again, I need to change that into pounds, but this time the exchange rate is slightly different, so I'm dividing by 15.21 this time. So it's 446 divided by 15.21. And that gives me £29.32. And again, I need to do the same thing now for April. So this time I've got 100 times by 24 pesos 50. That's going to be 2,450 pesos. And again, I got to divide by the exchange rate, which is 14.93 for April 2017. So 2450 divided by 14.93. And that gives me £164.10. All I need to do then to get to the total cost is just add them all together. So it's 99.29 plus 29.32 plus £164.10. And that comes to £292.71. Okay, question 8. You're given lots of information about some cashmere wool socks. So it says here that Rowena buys cashmere wool in 20 gram balls. Each ball of cashmere wool is £1.42. She pays her sister £8 to knit each pair of socks. 135 grams of cashmere wool is used to knit each pair of socks. Rowena sells 40 pairs of cashmere socks for £18.95 per pair. What is the percentage profit? So, first thing you need to do really is to work out how much wool you need, the mass of the wool, because it's given to you in grams. So, mass of wool. So, we've got 40 pairs of socks. We're making 40 pairs, so it's 40. It's 135 grams we need to make one pair of socks, and we got 40 pairs of them, so we need to do 40 times 135, and that will tell us how much wool we need. So 40 times 135, that gives me 5,400 grams of wool is needed to make 20 socks. Sorry, to make 40 socks. It says that you can buy the wool in 20 gram balls, so we need to work out the number of 20 gram balls. And we do that by seeing how many 20s go into 5,400, which is 270. Okay, which you can do on your calculator. So then we need to work out the cost of the balls. So we've got 270 balls and they're £1.42 each, so we need to do 270 times £1.42. That gives me £383.40. Okay. We also told you that she pays her sister £8 to knit each pair of socks. So the total amount she has spent on the socks total cost of making socks is going to be the cost of the wool, which is £383.40, plus the £8 that she's paid her sister for each pair of socks, and there's 40 of those, so we need to do 8 times 40 as well, and then we'll add that all together. So we're plus 8 times 40 So that is £703.40. So that's how much Rowena spends to make the 40 socks. She's paying £8 to her sister for the 40 socks, and it's going to cost her £383.40 in wool. Okay, it then says that she sells the socks, so the money she makes money made from selling the socks is going to be 40 times £18.95, because that's how much she sells each of them for. So 40 times £18.95, that gives me £758. Okay, it now asks what is her percentage profit. So to work out percentage profit, percentage increase, decrease, whatever you want to call it. It's like a little formula to help you remember this. So percentage profit is the difference divided by the starting amount times by 100. So the difference between the two is 758 take away £703.40. That gives me £54.60 divided by the starting amount. So we're working out percentage profit. So that's how much she would have started with, and this is how much she collected afterwards. So it's going to be 703.40, and then we times it by 100 to convert it into a percentage. So we can work that out now on a calculator. Times it by 100, and that gives me an answer of 7.76, which would be 7.8% to two significant figures. Okay, last question. Bethan has a plan with a rectangular lawn which is labelled A, B, C, D. She wants to cut out a triangle flower bed, so here's our triangular flower bed from her lawn, which is GHD. Bethan decides that AG to GD should be in the ratio 1 to 2. So AG is 1 part to D to G would be 2 parts. And that DH is equal to HC. So if that's the case, this is the midpoint here. Okay. She's made a sketch below. Calculate the length of GH. Well, what we've actually got here is a right angle triangle. So you can use Pythagoras' theorem to work out the length of GH. So we'll call it X. That's what we want to work out. Problem is we don't know what this length is and we don't know what this length is. But it's easy to work out what DH is, because DH is half of 6.8 because this is the midpoint. So if we did 6.8 divided by 2, that gives me 3.4 meters. So this bit here is 3.4 meters. Then this length is split in the ratio of 1 to 2, and we can see that the whole thing is 4.8 meters. So if you think of your bar models, if this was split into 3 bars, you've got to work out what each one is, and the distance from there to there is 4.8. So we need to work out what each bar is, and then we can work that out. So 4.8 divided by 3, that means that each bar is 1.6. So we want this length here, which is 2 of those bars. So 1.6 and 1.6 is 3.2. So now we've got the length, that's 3.2, and this one's 3.4. Now we can use Pythagoras' theorem to work out what X is. So Pythagoras' theorem, square both numbers, decide whether to add or subtract, square root your answer. So first thing we do is square them. So we've got 3.2 squared and 3.2 squared. And because we're finding the longest side, we're going to add them. Anything else we would take away. So I can work that out. 3.2 squared plus 3.2 squared. That gives me an answer of 20.48. And then we just square root the answer. So X or GH is going to be the square root of 20.48, which is 4 4.53 meters to 2 decimal places. Okay. The last part of the question, the flower bed, so I'll put the picture up again so we can see it. The flower bed GHD is to have a flexible edging strip placed around its perimeter. The edging strip costs £3.50 per metre and can only be bought in strips of complete metres. How much will the edging strip cost? How much will the edging strip cost Bethan? What length of strip will be left over? Gives your answer in centimetres. So the first thing we need to do is work out the perimeter, distance around the outside of the flower bed. So perimeter of flower bed. So that's going to be the x that we've just worked out to be 4.53 plus 3.2 plus 3.4. Now if we add all that together, 4.53 plus 3.2 plus 3.4, that gives me an answer of 11.13 meters. So it says that you can only buy edging in complete strips of meters, so we would need 12 meters, because if we just buy 11 we're going to be 0.13 meters short, so we need to buy 12 meters. So the cost, it says it's £3.50 per meter. Well, we've got 12 of them, so we need to do 12 lots of £3.50. which is £42. So that's how much it's going to cost, and it says what length of strip will be left over. So we've got length left over. Length left is going to be, so we've got 12 meters in total, but we only need 11.13, so we've got to do 11.13 and take it away. So 12, take away 11.13. That gives me 0.87 meters. It does say give your answer in centimeters, so you should know that there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, so we need to times that by 100 to change it into centimeters, which would give me 87 centimeters. And there's your solutions.